All right, let's dive into the world of Kelsea Ballerini. We're going way beyond just her music today. Using this incredible biographical article about her, get ready to explore how she's navigated this whirlwind career, faced serious criticism, and stayed true to herself in a really demanding industry.
Yeah, what's fascinating about Ballerini is how her story, resonates with something we all deal with. We've all had to make tough choices, evolve as people, and find the courage to speak our minds, even when it feels a bit risky.
Exactly. Ballerini's journey really highlights how personal growth is often tied to professional changes. So let's rewind back to the beginning. Small-town girl from Knoxville, Tennessee, with big dreams of hitting it big in Nashville. What I find so inspiring is that she actually made the move at just 19, inspired by icons like Taylor Swift and Shania Twain. If that's not bold, I don't know what is.
No kidding. That move really speaks to her drive and ambition, and it paid off quickly. Her debut single, Love Me Like You Mean It, went straight to #1 on the Billboard Country Airplay chart. She was the first woman to achieve that since Carrie Underwood, which is incredible.
Wow, it's like she arrived on the scene ready to shake things up and rewrite the rules. Would you say that outsider coming in and changing the game idea is a common thread throughout her career?
Absolutely. From day one, it seems like she was destined to challenge the status quo. And that leads us to how she navigated those tough genre expectations.
You know, as someone who used to only listen to one kind of music, this part really intrigues me. Critics were quick to label her music too pop for country. I remember thinking, wait, can't music just be good, regardless of the label?
That's a great point. This constant debate between keeping things traditional and allowing genres to evolve pops up time and again in music. It's particularly intense in country music, where there's such a rich history and a really devoted fan base. It makes you think about your own musical preferences. Have you found your taste expanding over time?
Totally. I think life experiences and just being open to new things has a lot to do with it. But back to Ballerini, it's interesting that she didn't cave to the pressure. She could have easily tried to fit into that mold, but she didn't.
Right, that takes a lot of conviction, especially when you're young and still finding your footing in the industry. Her decision to prioritize artistic growth over pleasing those who wanted her to stay in a specific lane is something we can all learn from. No matter what we do, sometimes you have to trust your gut and forge your own path.
You know, this next part really got my attention. In 2022, Ballerini went through a very public divorce from fellow country star Morgan Evans. That can't be easy under any circumstances. But to have it unfold so publicly must have added an entirely different layer of complexity.
Oh, for sure. It definitely puts things under a microscope, doesn't it? Every heartbreak, every disagreement is magnified when you're in the public eye. Instead of shying away from the pain, Ballerini channeled it into her music. Songs like Heart First and Love is a Cowboy became anthems for heartbreak. And picking yourself back up, I imagine many people found comfort and connection in those songs. Have you ever had an experience where music helped you get through a tough time?
Oh, absolutely. Music has this incredible power to make you feel seen and understood, especially when going through something difficult. There's always a song out there that perfectly captures those complex emotions you might not even have words for. But in Ballerini's case, she didn't just use music as an outlet. Her latest album, Subject to Change, seems to reflect a definite shift in her journey. Would you say it marks a turning point in her career?
Absolutely. If we compare it to her earlier work, there's a noticeable evolution, not just lyrically, but in the overall themes she explores. Subject to Change feels like a culmination of everything we've talked about so far. There is a maturity and vulnerability that might not have been as prominent before.
It's like she's moved beyond the straightforward love songs and is now diving deeper into self-discovery and personal growth. And that seems to be reflected in how she uses social media as well. She's really embraced it as a way to connect with fans on a much more authentic level, wouldn't you say?
I completely agree. What's interesting is that she's not just sharing the highlights, the awards and accolades. She's also open about her struggles, whether it's her experience with mental health or her thoughts on being a woman in the music industry. This kind of transparency is becoming more common among artists, especially those who came of age in the social media world. It makes you wonder, does it make you, as a listener, feel closer to the artists you follow?
It definitely does for me. It's like getting a glimpse behind the curtain and seeing the person behind the persona. It makes them feel more relatable, more human.
That's a really important point. It challenges that traditional idea of the untouchable star and creates a space for genuine connection. And it's not just about sharing personal struggles. Ballerini also uses her platform to advocate for things she believes in, like mental health awareness and female empowerment.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see her using her voice to make a difference. especially on topics that can sometimes be difficult to talk about. And speaking of using her voice, let's circle back to that genre-bending debate. It seems like she's constantly pushing boundaries and challenging those preconceived notions of what country music should sound like.
You're right, she really is. What's striking about Ballerini is that she embodies a shift we're seeing in the music industry. Artists like her are less interested in being placed on a pedestal and more interested in connecting with fans as equals. Her authenticity, particularly around her divorce, demonstrates this shift. It's a powerful message, especially for young artists who might feel pressure to conform to certain expectations.
Right, and that's what makes her so captivating to follow. She's not afraid to take risks, experiment with different sounds, and express herself authentically, even when it invites criticism. She's kind of modeling how to stay true to yourself in a world that often tells you to fit in.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the scrutiny she faced surrounding her divorce. It would have been easy to stay silent, to try to control the narrative. But she tackled it head on, refusing to be defined by other people's perceptions.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's so true. She's basically saying, this is my story, and I'm going to tell it on my own terms. It's a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own narratives, even amidst challenges and public scrutiny.
Exactly. It's a reminder that true strength often lies in vulnerability, in being willing to show up as your authentic self, even when it's messy or imperfect.
So, as we're nearing the end of our deep dive into Kelsea Ballerini, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If we take a step back and look at her journey so far, what are some of the key takeaways we can glean from her experiences?
Well, first and foremost, it's a reminder that success isn't linear. It's not about avoiding setbacks or failures. It's about navigating those challenges, learning from them, and using them to fuel our growth. Ballerini faced criticism early on, went through a very public divorce, and yet she emerged stronger and more creative.
Yeah, it seems like those challenges pushed her to dig deeper, both personally and artistically. She didn't let them define her. Instead, she used them as fuel for growth and self-discovery.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important takeaway. Authenticity is crucial, even when it invites criticism, even when it feels risky. Staying true to yourself is ultimately what will resonate with people and make your work truly impactful. Ballerini never compromised her artistic vision, and that's what made her stand out.
Yeah, her authenticity shines through, not just in her music, but in how she interacts with her fans, how she uses her platform to advocate for important causes, and how she handles personal challenges with grace and honesty.
It's all connected, isn't it? Her personal growth is intertwined with her professional evolution. She's not afraid to let those two worlds inform and inspire each other.
I think that's what makes her so relatable and inspiring to so many people. It's not just about the music, it's about the journey. It's about watching someone embrace their evolution and use their platform to make a positive impact.
You know, it's interesting to think about how Ballerini's career trajectory reflects a larger cultural shift. We're seeing more and more artists, not just in music, but across various creative fields, who are using their platforms to connect with audiences on a deeper, more authentic level. They're breaking down that traditional, untouchable star image and building genuine connections with their fans.
Right. They're not just entertainers anymore. They're real people with real stories to tell. And I think that's what resonates with people today. We're craving genuine connection, real conversations, and vulnerability.
Absolutely. And Ballerini is a prime example of how to do that successfully. She's not afraid to be honest, to be vulnerable, and to use her experiences, both positive and negative, to connect with her fans and inspire them.
I've noticed that in her music, too. The vulnerability in her lyrics. The way she doesn't shy away from difficult emotions. It's like she's inviting us to embrace our own complexities and imperfections.
What's fascinating here is that she's managed to achieve mainstream success while still staying true to her own voice, her own evolving style. It's a delicate balance, and she's navigating it beautifully.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left wondering, what does the future hold for someone who's already achieved so much at such a young age?
That's the exciting part. It feels like she's just getting started with her willingness to experiment, her commitment to authenticity, and her growing platform. The possibilities are endless. She could collaborate with artists from different genres, explore new sounds and themes in her music, or even branch out into other creative endeavors.
I can't wait to see what she does next. It's clear that she's not afraid to take risks, to push boundaries, and to continue evolving as an artist and as a person. It's like we're all learning and growing alongside her. It's not just about entertainment, it's about inspiration. You know, as we've been talking about Ballerini's career, I've been thinking about how my own musical taste has evolved. You know, there are artists I loved in high school that I still enjoy today, but for totally different reasons now.
Yeah. That's a really insightful observation. It speaks to how music can be a mirror to our personal journeys. As we change and grow, the music we connect with often changes too. It's not just about the melodies or lyrics anymore, but about connecting with the artist's story, their struggles, their triumphs, and finding echoes of our own experiences in their work.
I think that's what makes this whole conversation so interesting. It's not just about dissecting an artist's career. It's about how that artist's journey can spark reflection on our own lives. Thinking about Ballerini's willingness to be vulnerable and open about her experiences. Are there any artists you feel like you've connected with on a deeper level, beyond just enjoying their songs?
Definitely. For me, it's often artists who are willing to be vulnerable, who share their struggles and triumphs in a way that feels authentic. It's like their music becomes a soundtrack to certain phases of life. Looking back, I can see how those artists and the messages in their music help me navigate those times.
Right? Music has this incredible power to make you feel seen and understood, especially when going through something difficult. Have you found that certain artists resonate more deeply with you at specific points in your life?
Absolutely. It's fascinating how music can hold space for our emotions, validate our experiences, and even challenge us to grow. What do you think it says about your own personal growth, that you've connected with artists who are willing to be vulnerable and authentic? Ballerini is a great example of an artist who's built a career on that kind of openness.
I think it points to a desire for something more than just surface-level entertainment. I want to feel something. I want to be challenged. I want to connect with artists who are being real, who are sharing their truth, even when it's messy or imperfect. And Ballerini's decision to address her divorce head-on, to own her narrative, rather than letting it be controlled by gossip, really resonated with me.
Right. It's a powerful reminder that we all have the power to shape our own narratives. Even when faced with public scrutiny, it's not about pretending things are perfect or hiding our struggles. It's about being honest and authentic. And that can be incredibly inspiring, especially for someone like Ballerini, who's navigating the complexities of fame and public perception.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It's amazing how much we've unpacked from just one biographical article.
It just goes to show how much depth and richness there is to uncover when we go beyond the surface level. And Kelsea Ballerini's story is a perfect example of that. It's a story about ambition, resilience, authenticity, and the power of using your voice to make a difference.
If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out her music. But remember, it's more than just catchy tunes. It's a reflection of a journey of self-discovery and resilience, something I think we can all relate to.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. Think about a song or an album that's helped you through a difficult time. What was it about that music or that artist that resonated so deeply with you in that moment? And how has your relationship with that music or that artist changed as you've grown and evolved?
That's such a great question to reflect on. It reminds us that music can be a powerful tool for self-discovery and healing. And who knows, maybe exploring those connections will inspire future deep dives for us. We're always on the lookout for creators who are pushing boundaries, using their platforms for positive change, and making us think about the world in new ways. Until next time, keep diving deep.